Good?
Yep.
We're live?
Yep.
All right, great. Alexander Sluid,
Sean Robinson.
coming at you from Unique Photo. As I mentioned, we were going to try and change the format a little bit. And we got some great feedback from you guys, but we've just been busy with the holidays, so we didn't change the format yet. What do you think about the holiday so far?
Pretty good so far, actually.
Yeah?
You know, very busy over the Black Friday weekend and Cyber Monday, and actually still even through this week, we've been actually very high traffic in the store, which is awesome to see finally.
Yeah, my wife put up a pretty funny picture of the lobby of my building just filled with just packages, and I said to the doorman, hey, do you think it's going to get busier? He goes, oh, from what everyone tells me, they're expecting more and more packages, so that tells me that people are still ordering. We're going to be going to the crunch, and I think that, I know we're going to run, free second day air, so if you need last minute, I don't want to turn this to commercial, but if you need last minute gifts or something, you can buy them pretty good. Yeah, I want to fix that probably.
Yeah.
So we have coming up next weekend, we'll probably be coming at you live from our expo in Fairfield, New Jersey at our Superstore. We have an expo Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's going to have all the greatest and latest.
Yeah. All the major manufacturers will be here.
Yep. You Panasonic coming?
Panasonic will be here.
I got Canon,
Nikon, Tamron, Sigma. All the major players in the photo industry are going to be here for the show, and you'll be able to come in, play with the new gear, test stuff that maybe you haven't seen yet, and
I'm going to just crush the price on everything. So if you want to buy something, this is going to be the time to buy it. We're going to try it a little bit differently.
It's gonna be a good time.
With a disclaimer, manufacturers, I'm not lowering any of your stuff. They don't want us to. So let's get talking. This is a tech talk. Tim, do you want to try and? Yeah, we got some pretty heavy topics. Tim, can you just do the screen share and see if you can see my thing?
Yeah, it works.
It works.
Yep.
How do you say that first word?
Hypergolic?
Hypergolic. So hypergolic propellant. That's essentially a propellant where two different chemicals, when they mix, they self-combust. And the reason that they want to use that in rocket engines is because it's extremely reliable. If you don't need to, picture your car with no spark plugs or anything else and it just works.
It's just gonna work.
Yeah. So and you have no risk that maybe in the chamber, where this combustion's occurring in the rocket, that you can have anything go wrong or fuel build up because it just combusts, so it's all gone.
Limits catastrophic failures of NASA's past.
Right. So wait, Tim, you're able to put it up on the screen?
Yeah.
So you put it up on the screen for people to read?
Yeah,
and then you can great, and then you can put it back to me and Sean?
Yeah.
Can you switch?
Do you want it on you or do you want it on the screen?
Oh no, put it on us. I just want to see if it works.
Okay, yeah, it works.
Unless you got some, really good pictures you can put up there. So, I was reading about hypergolic propellant because I was wondering, hey, when are they going to get away from whatever they've been using, the hydrogen, oxygen mix, and they, in the Orion space capsule at least, which is, I think that was one of our first talks. I mean, I'm really eager to talk about making your password Sony123, but I'm going to
we had just gotten through all of this.
They obviously didn't watch your tech talk. 3 weeks ago. Send it to the CEO. He makes $1 million a year.
Yeah.
So I was reading about the Orion space capsule because that's one of the things it just launched. Do we know if it came back down yet? Did it splash back?
It's supposed to splash down, I think, at about 11:30.
So there's a million topics, and I'm really interested in space. So when Sean said that he wanted to talk about the Orion space capsule, it got me real excited. And I'm sure you nerds out there also are getting pumped up that we have a new space.
23 minutes it's supposed to splash down.
Oh, great. So we'll cut that in. So the fact that we have a new space vehicle is exciting. And, there was always that news about NASA being that everyone wasn't on the same page and they really didn't need this Atlas V, Atlas 1, Atlas 5 rockets, which they scrapped. And the fact that we have an Orion space capsule, which first of all, the materials they use, the technology is so much different than it was when they originally had the Apollo missions.
Yeah.
And the capsule's bigger. And the cool thing about the capsule is how adaptable they're making it. Yeah. So the capsule is meant to hold, what, 4 people or 6 people?
I think it can hold...
let me read it. I want to make the right. So it'll hold 4 astronauts, but what I was reading about was that it's designed to be incorporated with other capsules. So they put the capsule up there, which is the main active part of the vehicle, but they'll have a sleep area. So if they do a mission to the moon, they can put up a spot where the guys can sleep separately. So it's meant for 21 active days in a mission and up to 6 months of longevity mission.
Yeah. So it's not Apollo again, where it's we need to get there as fast as we can because we can't risk this anymore.
Right. I mean, we don't want guys floating out there in space, but I think they had a longer term goal in mind, and I'm very happy about that.
Well, they've openly come out and expressed about how this is really the continuation from the '60s of, you know, we want to go to the moon, or to the moon again, and then we want to go past that. We want to go to Mars with people, and I think they even came out
they have realistic goals too. Yeah.
And I think they had said by 2025.
Because I want to go to Saturn and go through a wormhole. But
Yeah, right.
It's not going to happen this minute.
I think I was
as long as McConaughey comes to me.
Yeah, right. I was reading on about how they were talking that I think by 2025 is what they're hoping to be able to get a manned space mission to Mars and back, which would be insane. I don't. It blows my mind that we're right now. We're going back into space. We're going back into where we're actually.
We've had the International Space Station, right? I agree.
You know, not just orbit.
And when I read about the Mars rovers, then I start researching. I always have the same research pattern. Then I start researching about that fact that we had, I think the Voyager was called by Russia, actually had its own Voyager missions. And they went to Mars, they went to Mercury, they went to Venus, they actually landed on Venus, we have pictures from Venus.
Yep, and then it melted very quickly.
Right, well it's very hot, right, and that's why Mars is more of a realistic topic, but, hey Tim, you want to give me a screen for a minute?
Yep.
Oh, and this thing just looks so cool.
So you got me, am I on there now?
Yeah.
Get you two goofballs over there, do something to help me out. So, this is the X-37, and now they have the X-37B, and this is made by Boeing. And this is basically an automatic. I mean, I know that we'll get into what you said in a minute.
Wow.
Yeah. So, with the rumors you read. So this is, we have it on the screen now. The X-37, which also is the X-37B, is an automatic space. Essentially, it's like a mini space shuttle that's modern and automatic, which is awesome to me because I'm not on the camera right now, right?
No.
Okay. Great. So let me switch my shirt here. Just kidding. So it's a modern automatic space capsule, which to me is unbelievable. First of all, second of all, they sent it into space recently. It was up there for like 16 months. And of course, once you have these vehicles,
no one really knew what it was.
Right, exactly. And once you have these vehicles, everyone's going crazy and speculating. Oh, what it's doing, this and that. And there was just recently, I don't know if you can pull up the article. Are you in the chat? Send me the chat with the article so I can show everyone.
Yeah.
I'm going to tweet out this link to the X-37B, which, I don't want to get segued too far off of the Orion mission, but to me,
all of it is the stepping stone that they got to Orion with, because they had to have been testing stuff with this vehicle that they're using with Orion.
And feasibility tests are just as important, because you don't want to go down the road of spending billions of dollars to create something that it doesn't work. So, Tim, what do I do?
God knows we've
hashtag
done enough of
UTechtalk
that. Yep.
and automatically show up?
Yep.
All right.
So, we're going to put out some articles for you guys to read about. And I love the space shuttle. And I love the fact that we sent up guys, we were able to retrieve satellites, put things into orbit, do experiments, bring up mobile labs.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very important to push that forefront. And just being out there and being involved in the environment is going to cause technology to keep pushing itself forward. And that's really important to me. And one of the things that I was happy about it was, we said, hey, we're going to, like you said, realistically have a goal to get men to Mars. Now, I don't know if it's going to help us to get them there. They're going to go dig a ditch, but you can't replace man being there.
Yeah,
and
it's
of course,
a start. We had to start somewhere, and then, again, I go back to the '60s. We had to start somewhere.
Yes, and we went
now,
to the
granted, that was all propaganda at the time. We needed
really
to
went
show
there.
our power. That we had the ability to do this during the, it was in the '60s.
I understand, but you don't think we didn't go there?
Oh no,
okay.
I fully believe we went there.
Right.
But it was the fact that they used the fact that the nation needed to rally behind something. We did it, and we successfully got there multiple times. And
I agree, and we it set the footwork for what do you call it? They call it near field. No, deep field is the Hubble image.
Yeah.
You got me on there?
Yeah. You good?
So, when I see this picture, and it's of galaxies, and I see the more recent ones, it just tells me that we need to keep pushing forward. Yeah. Especially when I'm watching images like of how far away the galaxies are, the observable universe.
Yeah,
is just we need to be pushing it, and there's no way for us to get there right now. But if we're not involved, like you said, and we're not getting out there, there's no way we're going to ever get a billion light years away. We're never probably going to be able to get there forever.
Yeah.
Not that it'll even be in our
Yeah.
realm of understanding 100 years from now because we'll be dead.
Yeah.
But I don't think feasibly we can ever get there.
I mean, there's an amazing amount of interest in it again. After seeing the was it Cosmos come back and shows like that, it's amazing to see
People
that,
are
that
interested.
people are becoming more interested in things like this because they're fun.
It's fun and it's important for us. But, knowing our origins is going to the goal is for us to live and for us to push living. And I posted a note on my Facebook the other day about them creating the first enzymes out of synthetic material.
Yes.
And when we talk about everyone wants to live, I want everyone to live longer and be healthy. And that's the biggest. I think space is more connected to that than people think.
Oh, definitely.
And it's very important for us to continue to push on all fronts. That will help enhance lives. And that's really where I have the most hope. And I want to live real old, And actually, I told my wife that I heard on the news that they think that people actually in our lifetime could push 1,000. Now, that sounds ridiculous since it's such a long step, but they think that when they do unlock the step, you're going to see a leap. She said she'd probably want to get divorced because she didn't sign on for more than 100 years.
Yeah, there you go.
But I said, she then told me she was just acting tough. So she's full of it though. So let's wrap up the Orion talk. So we relaunched Orion. It was originally part of the Constellation program, which essentially got canceled. We moved into Orion. And I'm glad because I read a poll that most people have no idea what NASA's budget is. They don't even know anything about it. And
a lot of them also don't fully realize that NASA's not fully a government-funded
right,
program.
and especially
It's
now we're
still
using
private.
What's your take on private, them paying X amount per launch privately?
I think without going too far into the whole being part of the government and stuff like that, I think
Post office style.
If it was the other way, where it was all taxpayer dollars and it was funded by the government, I think you'd find way too many people complaining. Why do we need to do this?
No, I'm asking, what do you think? Do you think it's wise, knowing that what you've read about space, that NASA hires another company to launch space vehicles and shuttles?
Why not?
I agree.
They hired.
They're building it
SpaceX.
anyway.
They hired. What were the other ones? There's been SpaceX and some of the other guys.
Yeah. Virgin wants to do it.
When all of it started, it was finding the brightest and the best in their fields to get us to the
right,
point.
and
why
NASA
should that ever
basically
change?
contracted it themselves internally, and now we contract things out. Like the X-37B is made by Boeing.
Yeah.
So these are being contracted out anyway. Why not contract out the launch?
And they're all worked in cooperation with the government and with NASA. I mean,
exactly. The Air Force doesn't go here. Boeing, here's the plans. Build this. Right. They develop it together.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
It's only going to help.
You think we'll get to space one day?
I would hope so.
Me too. Yeah, I would hope so too.
I have to go skydiving first.
You went skydiving in Vegas, right? Yeah.
I haven't done that. Probably at CES. I'm hoping to try it maybe at CES.
I would go. And I think the pricing that they're talking about is very, very expensive. You're spending basically, you're blowing a car, but you and your wife for your 20th anniversary, you're not like, hey, instead of going on vacation for the next 3 years, let's do this. I mean,
and it's with that. Talking
That's my opinion,
about
obviously.
space travel and I'd say not consumer space travel, but space travel for anybody. With the whole thing that happened with Virgin, because that is something that a lot of people now, they're looking at this saying, oh, okay, well, if NASA's doing it, it's fine because it's NASA. But you have companies like Virgin that's launching the program, Virgin Galactic, to get passengers to space. And they just recently had a major failure that killed one pilot.
I know. Terrible.
Really?
And he ejected the whole thing. It was a terrible story.
But
that also can make faster travel. Because they can get to outer space, go around at 27,000 miles an hour and land.
Yeah. But
that's obviously a concept and it's dangerous, whatnot.
But with a lot of this stuff, it's, people have to remember that, things are going to happen. Accidents will happen with stuff like this because you can't account for every variable that's going to change. And
even NASA, who had the space shuttle program, it took them to diagnose. We lost, it's a terrible tragedy.
Yeah.
We lost one recently in our lifetime.
Yeah. Two technically.
What's your favorite piece about space? Or mission or something like that?
It was. Actually, it goes back to Skylab. I was not in, even remotely born or thought of it at the time. But
that's okay.
It was the fact that when I was going through school in Vernon, they had a very heavy space program. It was, you spent an entire semester, you learned about space, you ran mock missions and all that kind of stuff. They had like the big cardboard thing of a space shuttle, and
I
you
just
ran
texted
it.
my wife and said I want to go to planetarium.
Yeah, and it was so cool. But one of the biggest things we learned of was about Skylab and stuff like that. So I think.
So give us what is Skylab? That was the first. That was Russia's space station, or ours?
Skylab was, and I'm really being challenged on the knowledge now. But I remember it was one of the first space
stations, experiments,
test labs.
Cool.
And then everyone that does remember it remembers that it came crashing down, and it was a horrible thing. But just the fact that we got to there, and then that led to pushing the space station that we have now. And
you need to make steps. There's only so much theory that you can do before you actually have to put someone up there and test it.
Yeah, someone has to do something.
Yeah, right.
Otherwise, we can just sit here and talk about it all day. So
Duke will go to space. Mine's Voyager. I got it on the screen without a doubt. We sent up 2. They got right on it, and if we watch,
the one actually broke out.
It's still there. No, they're both still there.
Out of the
solar system.
The one is out of our solar system officially now. I think,
one of the biggest things that people don't understand is they picture our planets rotating around the sun, but they're really not. We're rotating around the sun, moving through space at 70,000 miles per hour.
Yeah, there's that awesome picture of the corkscrew of everything
it was just
moving this way. That's so cool.
IF Love Science, which is a great site. So Voyager's mine, and I love that we use thermonuclear generators to keep them up, and that they still have power. There's no battery loss there.
Yeah.
They were launched in the 70s.
And even with Rosetta, I mean, it's the same kind of thing. We're pushing the envelope, whether it's NASA or
the Department of Energy. Or the Department of Energy. We had the Department of Energy gave the. I just love this picture. The Department of Energy gave the thermonuclear generators to NASA to use in the mission, and it's tremendous. So
yeah. All right. Well, let's move on because with space, I mean that's
we can go on for months. You got us back on the screen, Tim? Yeah. What's our method for me telling you to put us on the screen besides me just telling you?
We'll figure that out later.
Am I on now?
You can just point to yourself if you want.
All right. So point to myself. So
Sony Pictures.
Sony Pictures. You're gonna let me know if we have any conversation. People like joining in the conversation, right?
Yeah, of course.
Because last time everyone who sent us notes had no interest in being live messaging us, but wanted us to talk about some stuff. So we're gonna do a guest version of the show probably during the expo. So if you guys want to join in the show, come by the expo and we'll get you in. So let's talk about the fact that Sony Pictures did not
heed our warning.
Listen to our tech talk. The number one thing that I would do if I were going to hack Sony Pictures would be to check if the username and passwords are the same.
Oh, of course.
So that's I'm sure what they did, and then the next ones were very easy, I'm sure, after that, and they fell quickly. And also, let me tell you something, that if we were developing a movie, just keep them on their closed circuit. Don't put them on the internet. Just make the guy have to go to a different computer to check, his Facebook page.
What about the basics? Don't put a folder that says passwords in the set of things that you have the passwords for.
So I'm not as aware of it as you are. I mean, everyone's been sending me the articles, but give me a timeline. Do you have an article that you can pull up that we can?
Yeah, I'm going to pull that up right now. I mean,
are you in our Asana task list?
It was ridiculous. They came out at first. It was Sony Pictures got hacked, and then all the computers were locked, and nobody could do anything there.
Okay.
It was like,
so what happened? So someone comes in, they notice that they're hacked, and the hackers lock them out, so they continue to hack.
Yeah, it was a total lockout.
No one decided
people couldn't log into their computers.
And it's a big enough of a company where you can't just pull out the internet cable.
Yeah.
Okay. So give me a chronology past that.
So that happened, and then it kind of went quiet, and everyone was like, Sony's still hacked. They had to go back to using pen and paper.
Really?
To do daily work because they couldn't log in their computers. They couldn't do anything.
Wait, so this happened, and
this is still happening apparently.
No, they have to be in their systems now.
The information is still being gone through.
Right. So the information is still coming out of the media.
Yeah.
So how long were they hacked prior to the articles coming out?
I think it was a couple days.
Wow.
A couple days worth of we can't do anything, but someone has locked us out of our system. Now we're finding out that gigs upon gigs of information were stolen.
I guess that they're so
Files,
big that there's no
folders,
easy way to
that.
test if they're uploading the right thing or not. But someone's got to, heads have to roll, right?
Yeah. There was speculation from one group that said that we had an inside man doing this, and he it was with this, And then there's, the government response of saying, oh, well, North Korea did it. Because they've, Sony was the parent company
that was
with
the first thing I
interview.
read. Right, which didn't even leak.
No.
I saw Annie and Fury. 2 thumbs up for both.
Fury was amazing in the theaters. I went and saw it in the theaters. I thought it was better than Saving Private Ryan.
I don't want to go into the movie talk. So,
Anyway.
so let's talk about passwords.
Yeah.
You're always gonna have a weak link that's gonna cause everything to fall.
Oh, of course.
But do you have an article? You just send me a text and I'll put it up on the screen.
So I pulled up here. This is the article from Mashable because it has some graphics with some redacted information. So it seems to be the easiest one to show with what we're doing. So as I was reading it, it was like, okay, you can understand, a major corporation like Sony could be hacked. Anyone can be. When you get someone sophisticated enough, they can do it.
Right.
But what blows me away is the paperwork that came out of it saying that, like here, for instance, one of them, the person's password was Sony123. Yes, it's following the characteristics. It's got to have numbers and letters in it for the one they have. But it's like, really think about that. Like, yes, okay, a password you want to have pretty easy so that you can remember it yourself. But not easy enough that I can sit there and probably within 20 minutes I could have guessed that password.
I realized what happened to I'm an idiot. I opened a different window than I was sharing.
It's really laggy. It's showing the Voyager stuff right now.
No, that's okay. Yeah, that's what I have up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, it's not laggy. Put it up. You got me now?
Yep.
Okay, that's my bad.
Yeah.
I opened the wrong window. I'm a moron. Okay. So, here's the thing. Information. Like, if your credit card is, like, everyone can have my credit card number because I can get a new credit card number.
Yeah.
When information like this comes out, I mean, it's going to take them a very long time to recover. The movies that came out, now I admit, when I have my child, I'm going to be like, we're going to watch the hacked version from some website.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to the movie still.
Yeah.
So that saved Annie. But Fury, a lot of those guys, you're not going to go to the movies now.
Yeah, because at that point, we live in a point where with
I happen to
like
love going to the movies.
Pirate Bay,
I go every Tuesday.
There's still to see a movie in a theater is a very different experience than seeing it at home.
I agree.
I mean that's an undeniable thing, but with a lot of people where you go to some theaters and it's like, okay, it's gonna be like $23, $24 to go see a movie with a person. Some people they want to see a movie but they don't want to pay the money to go see it. That's an understandable thing, but
Here's the thing. Let's go back to hack.
Yeah.
Companies need password integrity. It's very important, and it's an embarrassment. And the information that came out, I understand, is company secrets, people's salaries, the whole thing.
Things they've said about actors that have worked for them.
Right.
It's
a mess of terribleness. And basically, what I see being uploaded from what I read in these articles, we're talking about a big, long-term breach. Before Sony knew this thing was hacked, these guys had to be. They were going to every computer.
They had to know exactly what they had at that point.
They might not even know. I think the opposite. I think that they didn't even know what they had, and they had all this information. Okay, they probably knew Fury was labeled Fury, but these guys, when they got the HR person's computer, I mean,
the fact that they have this wealth of information now of social security numbers, addresses, salaries, positions in the company.
It boils down to, Tim, you got my screenshot still, or you go back to me? Just when you put it up for a couple seconds and come back to us. Did you tweet out the link of this article? Or you got one?
I will do that.
That's fine. So, okay, do whatever you want. So, I think that the most important thing that Sony needs to do is, first of all, they need to have control the access coming in. So, you can't just have the whole thing wide open. You got to have good passwords. And I think that this should be a lesson. First of all, they should all use film. If they had used film, it wouldn't have been leaked. But that's besides the point. Right. But you doing some work while we're doing this? Me too. We're a little busy. So they need to have password integrity.
Yeah.
They need to lock down the ports, and they need to have a secondary level of security that's like failsafe. Like the movies that are being edited in production rooms need to not be on the internet. They need to be on a closed loop network. Is I think what it's called.
Especially when you look at the state of everything on the internet. We've got the whole WikiLeaks thing that's been going on for years.
We have the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, which you can have uncopyrighted, removed from Google.
Yeah, there's groups like Anonymous. There's groups like all of this stuff that you have to at some point realize that you put something online, someone
connected to
will
the
be able to get it, or you connect to the web.
And people say,
someone will
"Oh,
be
I
able
have
to
no privacy. I'm scared." But that's not necessarily a bad. It's bad. I want everyone to have a private life, but at the same time, if you're not doing anything wrong, it really doesn't matter. Okay, you can be embarrassed and pictures come out, whatever, but they're not targeting you. No. We know who they're targeting. They're targeting
them.
Sony.
They're targeting the 37,000 user accounts that were hacked from Sony.
Wow.
That's not just
still
like,
might
hey, I
target
went in
you.
and I was playing in this and I happened to find something and oh god. But you know, that's a malicious attack against the company.
Malicious attack.
That is someone going against them because of a reason or for something. And it's just, you know, you hate to see something like that happen to a company like Sony. Or really to anybody. But to see it happen is just more of that fact, like you said, that it's like they have to take something from that. They have to take the fact that this is an embarrassment to.
You think they would have taken something from when the PlayStation got hacked, right? I mean,
I don't know. It's just stupid. It really is just stupid. You know.
You get all frustrated? We're getting a little off topic.
So Tim's laughing over there.
Yeah.
It's just, you know.
What kind of producer are you? You have, I mean, all right. So let's circle it back in here. Let's break it down.
Yeah.
Two-step authentication, closed-loop networks. These are things that the other production companies need to take note of. They're going to be targeted. And now, once the one is in, you know, everyone's going to be looking. Oh, which movie can I steal? It's almost like a sport at this point.
Yeah, you know, going on to any of the sites for torrenting and stuff. I mean, you know, you'll see Fury and all that stuff. They're number one on the torrent list now, which is not.
It's Blu-ray quality. I mean.
Yeah, and it's not good. I mean, it's good, but it's not good.
We're number one on the list of hacked movies.
You know.
Yeah, and listen, there's. I had asked somebody because I said someone came over to my house and we played Fury for me, and I asked them. I said, "What's the illegality of that?" And they said, "Well, you watched it." I said, "Yeah, it's a tough call." I didn't. I don't know what am I liable for the movie ticket? I don't know what is.
You know.
Do we know? Does anyone know?
There's always some repercussion that I think that Sony Pictures and whatever studios actually.
Well, I mean, for the guys who hacked it, oh my God, that's federally and criminally.
And you know, that was one of the big things I know that happened with Game of Thrones. With HBO, because Game of Thrones was so popular and HBO Go isn't an open thing,
right.
It was one of the most hacked and shared.
Right, because they could just record the HDMI and you have the digital quality.
So
I happen to love Game of Thrones. Watch it live on HBO.
Oh, it's amazing. But it's basically what's cool to see from it is that yes, okay, so Game of Thrones became the most shared show through torrent.
I searched legality for watching a hacked movie, and the first 35 links are all Sony.
Oh,
Sony, Fury, Annie. I guess because Google shows relevant stuff. There.
Yeah. And
by time.
Yeah. So with the whole thing, what was cool to see was that now after the whole thing with Game of Thrones came out, HBO is basically, from what I've read, is they're looking at making a paid web service.
Well, they have.
So for a company like that, it's like, why not?
If you're seeing HBO doesn't have paid web service? Because I pay HBO every month.
They do, but you have to have an HBO
on a cable
subscription.
Account. So they're gonna
make it where you can just pay them.
That makes sense. That makes sense because we used to live in an apartment in the city. My roommate and I would cut back on whatever, like to save money. If we didn't need Showtime, we would not get it until
you'd end up cutting it until the show came on.
Yeah, which is, I mean, HBO Go is a phenomenal. That's like a model. Like if I was a movie student, I'm like, I need a model through HBO Go. Every show they've ever had, all the movies they have access to, and you can watch live, which is great.
Limits. And you know, myself, honestly, I don't have cable at home. I don't have HBO. I don't have any of that stuff.
Cable boxes.
It's annoying. But after watching Game of Thrones, it is something that I would totally pay for the season that's on. I would pay to see it.
You probably would like it so much, and it's really reasonable price. You just pay for the whole year.
Yeah, exactly. Because I'm doing that with Netflix as
Netflix
already. Yeah. And with House of Cards, I am so excited to have House of Cards come back. oh God.
I mean, we could talk movies for all day.
It's the whole thing of like, so what can Sony learn from this? What can Sony do? Because I'm curious to see what's going to happen when Fury comes out on DVD and Blu-ray. What this is going to do to the sales of that.
Well, the hackers will be on vacation because they already hacked it. They're good. They don't need to hack the Blu-rays.
But society already has it.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to hurt sales a lot. Remember another movie leaked where it crushed it? Expendables 3.
Yeah.
and not only that, but the reviews come out as bad. It's all bad press. So Sony needs to learn from this. I mean, we could certainly segue into talking about technology behind movies and how the future of that's going to be, but that's unfolding before our eyes. We know that's going to be streaming, and they need for their own good to protect things like this.
Because it is counterproductive to what everybody wants, really. I think.
And then people want free movies. But I bet you more people want the movie industry to succeed. Okay, the guys are overpaid. We can get into the whole debate, maybe, whatever. Who knows? But I think they should be paid because they've reached that. They're one in a billion shot of reaching that echelon of being a top movie star.
And the whole thing about how theaters. I was reading something when I first read this about why tickets are reasonably priced, but popcorn and all that stuff's super expensive. It's because of stuff from the 40s and stuff like that. I'll post a link on my Twitter about the whole thing.
I understand what you're saying.
About going to the movies, one of the complaints people always have is like, oh, well, the cost of going to go see a movie. Yeah, so I can download it.
It's actually not that expensive when you think you're getting 3 hours of entertainment.
It's really not.
For $20 for 2 people.
But it explains why when you go to the movie and everyone's like, oh, I want to get a popcorn.
Free popcorn.
Why the popcorn costs like $40.
Yeah, if you have four people, you're dropping to it's always about $10 a person. I agree.
There's a cool article that I'll post to my
Tim,
Twitter
that's
related with this.
What?
Pretzel bites.
No.
I want pretzel bites. Get me some pretzel bites, bro. What kind of producer are you?
I need the pretzel bites.
I love eating those in the movies. Yeah, take out all the M&Ms except for the pink ones.
Bring back crispy M&Ms. Come on.
I agree with you. That this is just an embarrassment. So that's all we wanted to mention is about the password essentially with Sony.
Yeah.
Do we have did Orion splash down or no?
It should. Let's see. So I'm looking at NASA's. If you go to NASA's website, they've got the countdown on there.
To what?
Join you next time. Let's see. Splashdown. Orion has landed.
Okay, great.
I'm going to.
No one was in it, obviously, right? So,
there was no.
Cycling back to Orion, you got me on the screen, Tim? So, Orion blasted off, and that's a rocket. And
if you go.
It went around the Earth a few times and splashed back down, right?
Yeah. So, if you go to search actually for the hashtag Orion.
Wait, on NASA's website?
On Twitter, anything. Twitter, they've got it up. I think NASA.
Okay, I got it. Yeah, great. Okay.
It's NASA_Orion. They've got everything. I mean, this is just cool to see. To see in our lifetime the beginning of going back to space. Manned space flight is. I just think it's so cool.
And like we said, it's important. It's important to continually push what we're able to do, push technology, and it's not to get too up on it, but
to our society.
Well, when people say, "Oh, the drug companies make too much money on these drugs," well, yeah, they make money so they can develop new drugs to make more money on. So that's why Ebola. I don't want to be offensive, but that's the reason that no company's invested in it since it wasn't a problem where they can make money for it.
Yeah.
So. All right. Well, I'm glad that Orion is back safely. That's a great thing because if it was, a failure, then we'd have to be set back a lot in the program.
Orion traveled 60,000 miles and further into space than any ship for humans have gone in the 40-plus years. So
what was the news about space weapon with Russia? They had a satellite.
Russia
here we go. Does Russia have an orbiting space weapon? Let me get the good website here.
Yeah, because there was a mystery launch that no one really knew about, and then Russia came out and said that it was a repair ship for their satellite.
Well, that's what the guy speculated.
Maneuvers don't make sense.
Right. Well, it's very, very precise. So, essentially, they believe that. Well, since we don't know what it is, NORAD has an object ID of 39,765 for it. So that's an interesting piece of technology right there. You back to us? All right, Tim. You go back to the screen for a second? No, I'm just kidding. So what was the last topic that we want to talk about today before we exhaust our...
So going with flight and things like that was the drone, the FAA stuff.
Right.
Which
is a big... We sell DJI. We're just bringing in...
3D robotics.
3D robotics. And the 3D robotics drone, not another sales pitch,
look so cool.
It'll tether to your Android phone, so... You could set it up high. I'm just picturing a wedding shoot. So picture bride and groom are going to walk down. You give the bride, you go, here's your, give the groom, here's your Android phone, put it in your pocket. And then as they walk, the drone's around them. Then you take back over and take it over, and he doesn't even know. And I'm sure
It's just following.
Just following him. And the DJI, you could pre-program in a flight path, which is awesome. So like, you don't have to worry if it gets lost or anything like that. It'll go on its path. But you told me that's really precise and hard to do on the DJI side.
Yeah, I know with the DJIs you have to unlock the mode to let you do it, and you can pre-program flight paths, which is.
I'm gonna ask you a question that you don't know the answer to, probably. But why don't they just let you do it like through some interface on the computer?
My guess, right out of the box,
Yeah.
honestly, is probably because who the Phantom was originally marketed to.
Who was it marketed to?
I think it was like at least from the
Hobbyists.
commercials was hobbyists and amateurs. But then
Is that why it doesn't
took on a
always have
huge-
the camera?
Yeah, I think so. But then that's like all of a sudden, it started getting more use, more popular.
We sell one that can hold a 5D Mark II and a 70 to 200 lens, right?
Oh yeah.
How much is that?
That's the S8000, I believe. It's a couple grand. I know that.
Cool. So, 3D robotics, drones, the FAA.
So, the FAA, in stuff that I've been reading, and it's actually, the articles I've been reading have actually been basing more around JFK, the airport, about how there's been a lot of near miss and jetliner pilots seeing these copters in the air. So the FAA now has come out and said, we want to regulate it, for lack of a more detailed explanation. They want to regulate it, but they also want to educate people as far as where you can fly these things, where you can't fly them, how high you can fly them. And one of the problems I think that people see right now is that, yes, anyone can buy these things because they're relatively affordable for even a basic one. Even if you don't have a camera on it, it's like $400 or $500, something like that.
Right. For which ones?
The Phantom.
Right.
The basic Phantom.
Correct. Well, we sell the one that's like $799, which has a awesome camera on it, is remote controlled, and when this thing flies, we're gonna fly one in here for you guys, but we can't even. Go to my screen for a second, Tim. We can't even get this thing in here because it just when this thing goes off, it is so loud and so powerful that it'll blow everything off this table.
Yeah. So what I grabbed out of it was just that it's so cool to see the stuff that you can do with it, but you get to a point where some people just need to have more common sense with these things.
You still got me up there, right, Tim?
Yeah.
Living in an area where you have. Oh yeah.
I mean, so this you can actually hear how loud it is.
This is from our expo.
We sell the one that's like $799, which has a.
Hear how loud that thing is? And when this thing flies.
And when this thing flies, we're gonna fly one in here for you guys, but we can't even. Go to my screen.
So, I mean, I was like, wow, I said the same thing when it was on.
Yeah, right?
But I guess that's the loop of our audio. So, I mean, this is an unbelievable change in tech. Get back to us. A change in technology this was like far sought after technology that people were like, only the government can have, and now you can have it yourself.
Yeah.
And these things you can get the Phantom copter up very high. So, especially around here, right near Koval Airport, there's airplanes coming in. The FAA doesn't want. I mean, one of those will take down a plane.
Correct. Yeah.
Or cause an emergency landing.
There was a lot of stuff that I had read about it, and it was again particular to the JFK situation where they had numerous reports of pilots saying we see these things in the air. They're not necessarily worried about them hitting the fuselage of the plane because it's plastic.
First of all, you're just got the pilot distracted now. That
Exactly.
can't be good.
It's
I don't want to be a plane
frightening.
guy looking out the window at some moron.
What really was big about the article was that look, something like this hits the jet engine.
Right?
That could cause a major
It
problem.
will. You can't let what it's going to spit it out. I mean,
we've seen what happens when birds hit into the thing.
right?
With
Captain Sully, saved the day.
It's that's a once in a lifetime thing to have happen, or what 1 in a billion chance
That
of being able to successfully land that.
Well,
You think
the
coming
squall
into
he would normally
JFK
have to re-land at the airport, but I mean he wouldn't have been able to make it back.
Yeah.
JFK, first of all, it's like you said, it's fine over New York City.
Yeah. Yeah. There's already ordinance and things like that about not being able to use them, but to go further, there are some things that the FAA, I know a lot of people are angry about, is about possibly requiring anyone that wants to fly them to have a pilot's training.
No.
Which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's
First of all, people aren't going to follow it. They need to make a law that people are actually. I mean, what are they going to do? Come arrest you if you're flying in drone?
As of right now, they even admit that it's incredibly hard, if at all even really possible, to actually be able to
Regulate them.
enforce anything that they want to throw at.
Right.
And most of the time, the last couple of things that I've read, people won against.
Stop
the
doing
FAA.
work during the thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Just
drones are awesome.
yeah.
Everyone, as a kid,
they
I
are.
know I always wanted a remote control helicopter, and I couldn't get the thing ever. I got the $29 one. I crashed it within 8 seconds, and I was
It's gone.
done. And the drones are really stable, and it's really good technology. And I mean, I watch Homeland. I know you watch Homeland. Now they're all about the drones, and they have the drones flying in other countries. And these we're talking about real.
Real heavy stuff.
Yeah.
That's it.
And we're selling it. So we have one that will. I don't know if you want to go to my screen. We have one that'll hold a full-size DSLR. All right.
Which actually would be a good thing to bring up while we're loading this up.
Yep.
We have our expo this next weekend, which we did talk about, and we will have this stuff here. And I'm sure Sergio will be here and can give a demonstration of it if DJI is here
No
with
picture?
their stuff.
Okay.
To be able to show these things and fly them during the show. So if you've never seen one, it's definitely cool to come by because we will have the ability to show you and let you see one fly. It is something so cool to see.
I'm ripping into somebody. So we're gonna roll right now. We're gonna call it a wrap. This is a little bit sloppier of a discussion than our previous Tech Talk, so we took a step backwards. I think our last one, actually the one before last one was the best. But next week we're gonna do a impromptu Tech Talk at the store. We're gonna do a little Q&A with some people. It's gonna be Friday during the expo. We're gonna do a little Q&A. So come by the store next weekend. What?
Anybody?
With us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Stump us. Want to do a little prize giveaway? Get some prizes?
Sure.
Figure it out. Let's get some prizes.
Actually, definitely prizes.
Definitely prizes. We need prizes. And
Everybody
we'll
loves
roll
free
that next
stuff.
weekend. So it's the 12th, the 13th, the 14th at
Yep.
Unique Photo Superstore in Fairfield, New Jersey is our expo. And Sean and I will be there to answer your questions. Let's not segue into movies, but we can advise you on some password security, what camera to get, and hopefully pick up a drone.
Yeah, definitely. So when you come into the show starting on Thursday,
Download our app.
Definitely come in, download the app because I'm sure we'll be with it. We're gonna push notifications for when Alex and I are ready to be taking questions and
Yep.
stuff like that.
And we're also gonna have some deals we're gonna be pushing on the app
Yeah.
too. They said
Yeah. So when it's all ready to go, stop in. It's on Android and iOS.
it's ready to go. It's live now.
Ready to go.
Yeah.
We've got it. It's definitely fun.
All right, and we'll do Q&A next week. Hopefully, we'll get a little bit more action because we were reaching a little bit today, I think, with the discussion because there's just so much to talk about when it comes to space, and I get so excited. I can't focus on one thing.
Looking at these topics, I mean, we could just go forever talking about some of this stuff, and that's where we need you guys. If you guys have topics that you want to hear us talk about, that you want to participate with, you want to tweet in with us, call in with us.
Yeah, we're gonna have
want that.
someone talk about drones. Who's our schedules didn't line up. Someone emailed in, so.
Yeah, we want suggestions from you. We want to hear topics that you want. If you want to be part of this and call in and talk and chat with us, let us know. Reach out through any of our social media outlets, and we would love to have people on and continue this.
100%. So join us next week, and then we're probably gonna next week, the week after, and we're gonna take off till after the holiday. We're gonna come and give you a CES recap after CES. So come in the store. Thanks for listening. And we're gonna get some really awesome prizes for next week. So don't if you're gonna come to the expo on Friday around 11 o'clock, get in the Tech Talk with us, and we'll give something big away.
Oh yeah.
And we appreciate all the feedback. We got a couple notes, positive and negative, and we do appreciate the feedback.
Cool.
Peace.
Peace out.